So, welcome everyone to Your Ego is Not Your Amigo 5-day challenge. Uh, we all know that your ego is not your amigo, but what we may not know is that there are distractions of the ego. When I was first writing this book and developing this program, I found 5 distractions of the ego, but I soon found out there was 7. So this week, every day at noon, I'm going to be giving you a little lesson, a little short lunch and learn for 30 minutes where I'm going to take you to dissolve the first 5 distractions of the ego. And my intention is that when you let go of the distractions of your ego, you will clear the space to be able to go full speed ahead on whatever your big goals and your big dreams are. Okay. So that was my intention to do it. I was also sharing with Sarah and Diana that this is going to be kind of a excitement around the book that's coming around in November on the topic, but the book is actually going to be on tuning in to your intuition. So once we're done getting the ego out of our way, we're going to learn to listen and hear our intuitive guidance system. So just so you know, this is being recorded. This is free for everyone, and I want you to invite friends. We have a VIP option, and the VIP option is anyone that is VIP will get the recordings, the transcripts, the journal, the ebook, et cetera, et cetera. But that's totally optional. Oh, and the slide deck. So let me pull up the slide deck. And we are going to start with day 1, which is on procrastination. Okay. Can you see my screen? Shake your head if you can. Okay. All right. So day 1 of Your Ego is Not Your Amigo is on procrastination. And it's about how to stop delaying and start trusting. Because the ego will say, it's not ready yet. Let's go till tomorrow. Let's go to mañana. But when we stop listening to our ego and we start trusting, we begin to see all of the visions that we have for our life. And by the way, this applies not only to business, career, but also personally. There's no separation when it comes to the expansion of your life. And that's my goal, that at the end of this session, you're going to feel lighter and more expansive. So let's talk a little bit, not too much, about the cost of procrastination. Procrastination is a grave in which opportunity is buried. Okay, just let that sink in. I remember that I was always saying, you know what? When I improve my Spanish speaking, that's when I'm going to be able to do more coaching and training in Espanol, right? And I kept saying, oh, but I'm going to wait, I'm going to wait, I'm going to wait. And I cannot tell you, probably I turned down at least 80 to $100,000 of work because I would say no to anything that was offered to me in Spanish. Why? Because I procrastinated on moving forward with that goal that was always on my calendar every year, probably since I was 16 years old. Get your Spanish in order, get your Spanish in order, get your Spanish in order. So we want to look to see what is procrastination costing us. In fact, I encourage you to get out a piece of paper, and I recommend Julie's really great at this. In fact, Julie gave me the most beautiful journal. Is actually write it with paper and pen if you can, rather than good. I knew you were doing that, A+ student, rather than in a computer, because when we type with our computer, we default to our left brain, which is over analytical, which only gets us into more procrastination. So, first thing, if you want to free yourself from procrastination, is start, especially when you're journaling and writing your visions and dreams, use old school paper and a pen. I'll give you a moment to get one. Okay. So we are going to write down what are the costs of procrastination. Think about where you've been stopped in your life, personal or professional. And it could be the book that's in you, the course that's in you, the retreat that's in you, the podcast that's in you, the next level in your living situation, anything. What is the cost? So is it costing you money? Is it costing you joy? Is it costing you peace? Everyone in the chat, put what is the cost if you feel comfortable. You don't have to. But just if there was one word that procrastination is costing you, write it down in the chat. Welcome, Marianne Lopez, Mama Cheesecake, my OG coaching client from 20 years ago. It's so great to see you. Okay. So in the chat, what is it costing you? Money. Isn't money like a good motivator? I don't know about any of you, but the idea of having extra money in our bank account. Oh, that sounds good. Peace, money, financial. Wow, it sounds like money is the common denominator for almost all of us. I love it. Okay, cool. So right now, procrastination is costing us money, right? So when we look at it costing us money, we have to realize that guess what? The only person that is in charge of listening to our ego or listening to our intuition is you. And that is empowering. So it's not the economy, it's not the politician, it's not your boss, it's not yourself if you're your boss, it's you. And that means because you are the one that's procrastinating or you are the one that's stopping you from this money, guess what? And you know how I like to think of it because the brain really helps to have visuals. It's pulling up a parking brake. You have the power to release that parking brake and put your foot on the gas. But it's deep. It's subconscious. So I'm actually going to take you through a process today during this session to release that. So I better go faster. So when we think about what is stopping us from fulfilling our goals, um, sometimes there's a limiting belief, right? And there's a limiting belief, like I'll just say for when I was going to write my book, there was a limiting belief, my first book, of 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 who will read it or who needs this book or there's enough of this book out there. So when you think about what is the limiting belief, so and write this down. What is the limiting belief that you hear, right? So the limiting belief that is stopping you, am I good enough? Does it have value? I don't have enough time. I want you to write down the actual limiting belief that's blocking you. Maybe it's something new in your business. Maybe it's something new the book that you're writing. What is the limiting belief? And if you feel comfortable, you can write that limiting belief in the chat. If you don't, just keep it in the journal because we're about to use it in a moment. And Manana Wana, who I like to call the queen of procrastination, she will always say to you all the things that you're not. I'm not as good as I think I am. She'll say, I don't have time. I don't know where to start. These are all the limiting beliefs that Manana Wana will whisper to you. Actually, it's not even a whisper Because for most of us, the ego has all of the attention of our mind, right? For most of us. And it's because the ego is actually here to protect us, right? It's here to keep us safe, allegedly, in our comfort zone. But our comfort zone is not where we grow, right? The idea of where do I start? Where do I have time? It's where we stay stuck and stagnant. And it's because the ego doesn't know the difference between transformation when we get started and annihilation. So the ego thinks that it's dying, that we're killing it, right? But we're not killing it. We're evolving. We're on a new program. We have a new way of being, a new way of thinking, right? But how do we get there, right? So, what we want to visualize is what our life would be like if we were free of this procrastination, if we were able to start, if we just knew that we were good enough, right? That's what Marie Forleo says in her book, Everything is Figure Outable, is don't get it perfect, get it started. Wasn't it MC Hammer that said, the great philosopher that said, let's get it started, right, Julie? Let's get it started, right? So, what would our life look like? And what you really want to ask yourself is, besides more money in the bank, who would you need to be? What would you need to let go of to have this unfold for you, right? But don't worry, you don't need to figure this out. That's what I'm going to help you with. I'm your guide. So I'm asking you a lot of open-ended questions because what we're doing is we are retraining your ego. I want you to think of your ego as a scared little puppy. For those of you that met my dog Davino, I'm sure most of you have seen him on webinars, right? He will bark at a bunny. He will bark at a squirrel. Why? Because he's in predator mode, or he'll bark at a skateboard because he's scared, right? Our ego, out of fear, will make noise, right? So, what we need to do is we need to train it that we're on a new elevated program. Isn't that our word, Julie? Elevate. So, we are going to elevate our ego that we're going to do things differently, but it's going to be okay. And we're going to do our best. And we are going to expand time and we're going to be able to fulfill our dreams. Okay. So when we think about not just ourselves, right? So, part of the reason that I'm teaching this to you is because my soul's contract is to help you fulfill yours, right? And it's bigger than just our business or just our job. It's about the impact that you are making in the world when you're not obstructed by the distractions of the ego, right? It's going to allow you to stretch beyond your current circumstance. And guess what? When you stretch beyond it, guess what's also going to stretch? Your bank account, your income, your revenue. Because to the degree, it's the universal law of circulation. To the degree that you give to the world and that you shine your light is to the degree you receive. When you think of money as energy, I learned this from my spiritual guide, Emmanuel Dagger. He wrote this book called Easy Breezy Prosperity. Love it. Love his book. He's based here in Carpinteria, and one day you'll get to meet him. I'll take him to one of my events. Anyway, he says that money is energy, right? And when you put your impact into the world by taking down the parking brake, putting your foot on the gas, you put more energy into the world. And when you put more energy into the world, there's a momentum, there's an ignition, a little bit of flame and fire that allows you don't have to work harder. You don't have to push or pull more. Guess what happens? You become magnetic and you become attractive and things start coming to you. I was meeting with the head of innovation for Santa Barbara City College, and she was like, Deborah, you're on fire. Just everything is just like unfolding. And I said, yes, because of the energy that's connected with this work that I'm doing in the world. So I want you to write down What is your impact on the world? Take a moment to write in your journal. I'm going to plug in my computer while you're doing this. Just write down what is your impact going to be? When you are living your vision, your dream, your soul's contract, what is your impact on the world? And if you can, write it in the chat. What is your impact in the world? Because this is your why. This is your soul's contract. Ultimately, when we have our celebration of life and it's our memorial time, they're not going to say, oh, Diana had this much net worth. Sarah had this much in her stock portfolio. Julie had this much money in the bank. It's not about the money, actually. It's about the impact. It's about the legacy. So, yes, you're going to be even more abundant when we pull up the parking brake from procrastination. But even more important to your soul is the impact that you're going to have, is the legacy that you're going to leave, is the transformation you're going to make. That's what's going to get you to release that parking brake. Okay. So if you want to write in the chat your impact to help me and the world evolve into our highest selves and living our best life. Yes. Connection where knowledge leads to empowerment, which leads to action. Yes, I've been career switching into conservation. Love it. Wonderful. And by the way, if you guys want to, if you want to come a little early, like 5 minutes earlier tomorrow, we'll have time for introductions because there might be some synergy with some of you here in this group. There's always synergy. And at the end, I'll probably make a Facebook group for all the graduates of the 5-day program. Okay, cool. Love it. Okay, so your impact. And even if you didn't write it in the chat, definitely write it in your journal because this is what's going to give you that transformation. Um, so we're going to do a process. When I say we, I'm going to lead you through a process. Some of you may not know this, that I am an NLP practitioner, neuro linguistic programming. So when I do coaching with people, oftentimes I give them all of the assignments, right? And I do marketing consulting. I used to do life coaching. I don't do it anymore. But sometimes there's something that's stuck on the subconscious level. And you may not realize that your parking brake is being pulled up because there's a deep down limiting belief or fear, right? And so we are going to do a brief little process. We started about 5 minutes later to let people arrive. So we're going to end 5 minutes later at 12:35. So it's 12:23. We have till 12:35, and I'm going to take the time to lead you through this process because it's going to make a big difference so that you can help others gain financial freedom. That's what Julie said she's going to do. I love that. She's a recruiter, so helping people find their ideal job and career. Anybody in a career change, make sure you connect with Julie. Okay. So, what I would love for you to do is you can put your journals down for a moment and you can close your eyes. You don't have to drive the car. You're the ones that are the leaders and in charge of everything and everyone. And just for this 5 minutes, I'm going to take the wheel. All you have to do is be receptive. Just close your eyes and maybe have your hand on your heart, one on your belly, and we're just going to breathe in and let go. Just letting go of anything that came before this moment, letting go of any old ways of being, old ideas, old limiting beliefs, old behavior patterns, because we know that our thoughts create our emotions, create our behaviors, create our results. So when we have a new belief that is overriding the old limiting belief, everything shifts in our mind's eye. So, what I want you to do with your eyes closed, but your vision opened and expanded to the impact that you are making in this world by going forward with your vision, with your dream, is I want to see yourself, your future self, not even 1 year from today. That's too far in advance. Let's go 90 days. So, the end of the year, the end of 2025. And I want you to see yourself free and liberated from the grip of procrastination. It no longer serves you. It no longer has a place in your life. That these limiting beliefs of where do I start and I'm not as good as I think I am, I don't have time, they're melting like coconut oil in a frying pan. And in its place is a garden that has fertile soil. The weeds have been plucked, and there is just an open canvas for you to plant any idea, any vision that you have that is going to help the world, to uplift the world through your knowledge, through your insights, through your being your highest and your best self. And right now, in this scene, 90 days from now, you see yourself not from watching a movie through, you see it through your own eyes as if it is happening now. You have completed whatever project that you have, or you've started it. Maybe it's not completed, but you have gotten it started. That whatever steps that you need to take for it to get started, it just flows. There's no longer that resistance. There's no longer that feeling of walking through mud. It is a feeling as you're floating down a river on a raft. There is just such an ease and such a grace around it as you just feel all the resources that you need coming to support you, all the people, all the things, all the resources, everything that's needed for you to get your project started. It is happening. And you know what? It's not perfect, but life is not perfect. And you know that you can improve it, and that we're going to talk about perfection tomorrow. So you just see yourself in this space of it all coming together. And there's a feeling that you have in your body. Maybe that feeling is confidence. Maybe it's patience. Maybe it's perseverance. Maybe it's enthusiasm. Maybe it's joy. Maybe it's passion for doing what you've always said you wanted to do. And there's just a feeling as if a flame has been ignited under you, and that you are just taking one step at a time and knowing that there is plenty of time for it all to unfold, and that you are being so supported because you are fulfilling your soul's contract. You're fulfilling your life path. You're fulfilling what you've come here to do. And as you see yourself in the scene, also pay attention to what do you hear? What is your self-talk? Are you saying, you got this, Julie? You're on it, Diana. You can do this, Marianne. Sarah, this is yours. Whatever the self-talk is, hear it now and make it a little louder. Amplify those messages that are reaffirming that you've got this. That any old ways of playing small, any old ways of being in the procrastination are a thing of the past. As your focus is on your impact, as your focus is on allowing yourself to be the vessel in which your highest self, your intuitive guidance system is guiding you every step of the way of what's next. And time is expanding, but no longer is it coming from you. by making it happen. It is coming through you by being in the flow. It's just so amazing how life is unfolding right here and right now. And as you see it and as you hear these words of affirmation, I also want you to feel what it feels like in your body. What is the energy that you feel? Does it have a color? Does it have a shape? Does it have a sensation? And allow that just to fill up your being right now. Maybe it's a blue color or a silver, whatever it is. Allow this energy to just carry you as you see this scene just unfolding. And just notice your impact in the world. How is it helping people, communities? How is it expanding? How is it naturally unfolding? And just feel it energizing into each cell of your being, as if you had a magnetic coil at the center of your heart. And it's just pouring out into the world and allowing that magnetic love that you feel from the core of your being, that magnetic love for making this impact, for making a difference, that this love and this light that is at the center of the coil is attracting all of the opportunities, all of the resources, everything you need for this vision to unfold, to become reality, even now. And just feel grateful, so thankful, thankful for this opportunity, thankful for the sacred time to remember the truth of who you are, to remember the why you came here to being, and to remember what you've come here to do. And just gently, gently returning back into the room. And if you'd like to just journal for a moment, just write anything down that was significant for you. Just take a moment. We're just going to take a moment now, and then later I'll encourage you to write more, remembering what you saw, remembering what you heard, remembering what you felt, and even more importantly, remembering the impact you had. And if there's anything you want to share, you can just put it in the chat. Anything that you want to proclaim, that you want to declare, that you want to decree. For any time that we speak, we are actually activating the power of our word. And our word is law. When we say it, it is done. And so by decreeing it, and once we do, this is like a practice for eventually maybe this being a group program, but right now this is like a taste of it. As this expands into a group program, we'll have partner time and sharing time and more time. This could feel a little bit rushed, but it's because I don't want to take too much time out of your day. And I want to make sure that you get this information. So it's a little condensed. If it feels condensed, that's why. And so one of the ways that we can retrain our ego, that little puppy in our mind, is to let it know that as I take aligned action, even when I feel unsure, my intuitive guidance system, my IGS, leads me perfectly. and I like to say to the right place at the right time to the right people. And you may have your own affirmation that you want to write in your journal that every single time that you think about procrastination, you think about who needs it, right? Who am I serving? I tell the story of when I was writing my first book and I spoke at a conference and someone came up to me and they wanted to buy the book, but I had not written it yet because that little voice said, "Well, who needs to hear this book?" And I remember the lady crying because she something I said that she wanted from the book. And every time I thought about writing the book, I had a picture of her in my head and the tears that were rolling down her mind. And I said, "You know what, Deborah? Your ego is not your amigo. This book, this podcast, this course, this project, it's not about you. It's the impact that you're making on the world. Move forward with it." And that was my gentle reminder because we don't want to beat ourselves up for not doing things. We want to invite ourselves to move forward. It's different. So, what I want you to consider, and you can put it in our Facebook group. You know, we have Your Ego is Not Your Amigo Facebook group. If you're not already in our group, if you're my friend on Facebook, DeborahDeras, you can get it. And I want you to write down in the Facebook group what is one small step you can take today to move forward, even if you feel a little uncomfortable. And I have to tell you, that discomfort is the ego's misdirected anxiety that's actually excitement. So the ego's looking at it through the lens of anxiousness, but actually it's excitement. It's excitement because, ooh, it's something new. I've never done this before. So, and if we are putting ourselves in situations where we feel a little bit of discomfort, that is good because Dr. Joe Dispenza says that's where growth occurs. So I know we're out of time, so I'm going to wrap us up with our final um, invitation. So I just want to celebrate you for showing up today. I know there's probably like 95 people signed up for the challenge, and many of them, if they're part of the VIP, will watch the replay. But I celebrate you for coming in live because sometimes being present live, it makes a difference in how you pay attention and how you show up, how you follow through. We're very busy people. We can multitask. So I just want to celebrate you. Yes, I celebrate you. Proud of you. You didn't procrastinate. You didn't say, "Oh, maybe I'll come tomorrow" on perfectionism. You showed up today. So I just want to acknowledge you for that. So you don't, yes, exactly, Sarah. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be open, receptive, and available. So tomorrow, I'm going to go over the second distraction of the ego, which is perfectionism. So I encourage you to come back tomorrow. Each day, we're going to have a different process. I'm going to put it in the chat, the registration link. There's no cost to register, but if you have any friends that want to sign up, you can give them that link. There is the VIP upgrade. The people that are on the VIP will get the recordings, the workbook, the handout, all of that good stuff. And I wanted to let you know Friday, we are meeting later. We're meeting at 1:11 instead of 12 because I'm teaching an AI class from 8:30 to or 8 o'clock to 12:30. And some of you might be in the class. I think Julie's in the class. So that for that one day. On Thursday, there is going to be a bonus Q&A. So we're going to do our normal 12 to 12:30, and then we'll have a bonus Q&A at that time. Okay. So I'm going to